Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and well, you can see behind me there, that's the case for the Amstrad. So I think in this video we'll see if we can actually get the Amstrad put back together and get some drives in it and start making it look like a computer again rather than just a bare board sat on the workbench. So I'll get the camera set up on the bench and we'll have a look at actually putting this computer reasonably back together, at least enough that I can get it off the workbench for the time being and actually fiddle about with it in a built up state while I get something else rather interesting out on the bench. So back in a sec. Right, okay, I've got everything cleared back away again, so the power supply and the video and everything's moved away. The first thing I think we need to do, got the case here, let's move those components. Okay, there we go, and let's get inside here. Put the plastics out of the way. There we go, that's the front off. A bit of metal there. Get the top off. There we go. And put that out of the back of the bed. And what I need to get out first is this lot. Let's get the rest of the case out of the way for the moment. We've got the original, it's not perfect, it has got a little bit of rust on it, but not a terrible amount. I think someone's actually blown that over with a silver spray can at some point. So it isn't perfect, but it's not terrible. It's usable, and I would quite like to keep the metalwork if at all possible. I actually think on mine, I threw this away. I'm pretty sure I binned the RF shielding on the one that I had back in the 90s. So let's try and put this back in its shielding. There we go. We'll put the top back on. To make sure we put this on. Yeah, that's the right way. Comes out through that hole there. Obviously these aren't really going to be needed because we've got power on the little adapter board. Although, we'll see if I ever get an original monitor or anything for this. They've actually made a cutout there in the board for a capacitor to come through. If I can get this right. That's got to go on there. It's very thin, this metal shielding, I will say that. There we go. Yeah, they've actually cut a hole out for one of the capacitors there. Oh, hang on, so I've got that wrong. That needs to come through that hole there. They really did design this so you could basically access everything that a user really would need to access without removing the shielding. That's sort of a nice touch from Amstrad there. Let's get this back on now. I don't think we're quite right there. I think we need to come that way. There we are, that is. Yeah, no, if you, so we've got that comes through there. So if you look, I'll get you zoomed in a little bit. There we go. So if you look, this is how it should be, and if you see, basically your RAM expansion there is accessible. Obviously you can get to your floppy, even though that's not disconnectable, it comes out like that. Everywhere you basically need to get to something to plug or unplug a cable, is accessible. All that they've covered up is basically everything else. Like I say, you don't have to take the shielding off to be able to upgrade the RAM or anything like that. You can actually do it just by taking the top of the case off, which is rather nice. Zoom out a little bit. Oops, that's the wrong one. That's what I used to do with my old camera. I still managed to do it on this one. Right, we'll get the bottom of the case in. Let's get that out of the way for a sec. Because there's a few things I want to do to the bottom of the case. The first one is we'll get rid of that fan because it's not needed. Even with a hard drive in there, this thing does not get warm enough to need that fan in there. It's just causing excess noise. Especially because I can't sort that original hard drive out. I will probably end up going with like a GoTech kind of solution on this thing. So if I'm doing that, that really won't produce any. Actually, like the original Amstrad fan. I don't ever recall these coming with a fan. That is Amstrad. That's absolutely filthy under there. We may as well, while we're in here, have a bit of a clean up of this bottom case, because I've just noticed it's actually a little bit on the manky side, more so than I thought it was actually. Get that speaker to come out. There we go. The front's not bad. The front's reasonably clean. I'm not bothered about little bits of muck and rubbish on it, but that's fairly clean. That though, we've got signs of water corrosion there, and all filth from underneath that fan. Some more damage up here. I think I'm just going to go and get a little bit of cleaner and just see if I can clean that up and make it look a little bit nicer before we actually put the main board back in. So back in a sec. Okay, that's a lot better. I've just spent about 15 minutes with, I like this stuff actually, elbow grease. It's a kitchen worktop cleaner and degreaser. What I like about this is it's basically very good with plastics. There's no solvents in it, and it won't damage plastics, and obviously we have got quite old plastic here, so really quick spray of that inside, just let it sit for a couple of minutes and you can see the results. I just brought all the muck off, and there was a few little rust spots that I showed before in here where the tray had sat and obviously got damp, and well, basically this is pink stuff. This is, again, it's very good for plastics, and it doesn't. I tend to use this for cleaning PVC windows and door trims and things like that. It will get all the muck and grime off without actually damaging the plastic. Again, I just put a little bit of that on and just rubbed it on the rust spots, and that just brought them straight off. So, you know, just tidy it up that little bit before we start putting the parts actually back into the case. So let's start by putting the motherboard. Oh, hang on, I need to take that off. Does that come off? Does that go through the hole, or does that go on and then? Yeah, no, that needs to go on after we put the that's a little knob for the volume control, which was actually missing when I bought the Amstrad. That was one of the things that was actually missing from it, was that little volume knob. Fortunately, it was actually on the on my spares board, the one that's actually repaired and in here now. That had one on it. We need to go. Which way do we need to go to get this to line up? There we are. That's sat in. It needs to sit down a bit. something here is not obviously in the right place. It's not sitting square. Let's try. That's right there, that's all fitting together, that's all fitting together how it should. Let's try going. I'm wondering now if this is the reason why I got rid of the shielding on mine all them years ago. I just couldn't get the damn thing back. Ah, there we go, it's gone in. Right, okay, lovely. We can start putting some screws back in now. So the screws not only hold the shielding together, they also hold the board down to the plastic case. That's the first one in. Put one in round here. One in there. I don't think I've actually got a full set of screws. I might have. If not, I will see if I can find something that's suitable. There's nothing special about these screws. They're just a plastic screw. Got one in there. I might have the full set actually, looking at this. One in there. So far it's looking pretty good for correct screws and correct holes. One down there that needs to go in. That's better. That's holding all the shielding properly in place now there. Now let's have a look. Where else have we got? We've got one for the back corner there that needs to go in. That'll pull that shielding decent. One there. I think that's it, because that's where we need to get a connector in. I've got two more screws. I think we actually do have a full set of screws. That's brilliant. I had a feeling there was some missing. There we go, that's in. So we've got one to go in there. And I think, oh no, we have. We've got one screw missing. Yeah. We've got one. There should be one in a hole there. So we'll have to find something suitable for that. I've pulled that tight in that hole there. There's just one there that needs a screw in it, which we don't have. But anything suitable. I wonder if that would work. Yes, look at that. Lovely. Not the same size, it's not the same exact same screw, but it's got the same screw pitch on it, so it goes in nicely enough, and that just finishes it off. So there we go, that's the main board reinstalled back in the actual case. Those we don't have to worry about too much, because we're not really going to actually use those. But I could possibly just tuck them down and out of the way for the time being, because we're not going to need them. What we are going to do is we need a disk drive for starters. I've got the original enclosure. This originally had the 3.5 inch disk drive in it, but for the time being I'm actually going to put this 5 1/4 in. So, I don't know 100% yet. I haven't decided what we're doing drive wise long term, but for the time being This will allow us to actually get data off and onto the computer and mess about with the hard drive and other things that we need to do. I think that should be the right screw. In fact, those are really manky, those screws. Let me I'm sure I've got something better we can fix those in with. In fact, just bear with me a sec and I'll sort out some better screws to just hold the drive in. So back in a sec. Okay, we're back and I've got a few more modern PC style screws here, which will do to just hold this drive in place. Put one in there. And put one in there. I mean, this drive is not going to be staying in this computer because this I borrowed out of my Zenith 286. This is the B drive out of my Zenith 286, and it's the wrong colour. I know I've got some drives that are more suitable, but they are currently buried deep in the attic. I'm not feeling up to digging them out at the moment. So this will do for the time being, and it'll certainly do until we can possibly get that 3.5 working. Right. So that can go back in on there like that. That sits in there like that. For the moment, I am actually going to put the hard disk back in here. I know it doesn't work properly, but what I did do a couple of days ago actually is I dripped a few drops of a very light clock oil actually onto the bearing of the stepper motor there, because that is one of the issues that these can suffer with, is basically the grease in that stepper motor starts to harden up, and it means that it's difficult for it to actually seek the head across the thing because it's got resistance on the stepper motor. That little bit of oil, if that is the issue, and I don't think it is, I think the head, you know, we have got disc problems in this, but if that was the issue, that should help. So we might be able to get some life back out of that drive. I'm going to stick it back in for now anyway. In fact, do I want to put the front back on? Yes, I do. I want to put the front back on before I put that drive in, I think. Let's try to remember how these things go together and come apart. And that should go in with that floppy drive there. Are we right? I think it's not quite, but that's clipped on there. And that's clipped in up that side there. That's not looking too bad. A bit of play on there. Right, yeah, I think that's going to work. We'll take the hard disk and we'll stick that in. Oops. Okay, so perhaps we will fix them in place and then we're going to be able to get to everything, aren't we? Yeah, we can do. We can do it that way around. Right, and then we need the screws to mount those down. And again, with this being Amstrad, there's something a bit unique. It's these long screws here. So one in there. In fact, we are missing 2 of them. So what we'll do is put one in there. We'll put one in there. And we'll use the other 2 in the middle there. There should actually be 6 of them. One can go in there. We'll screw those in, and then we'll put one at the back. That at least should hold everything in. Should hold everything in place. Okay, screw that one in down there. Lovely, and then put that last one at the back there. I think that'll hold the drives the best, considering what screws and what have you we've got. So I think that will be the best course of action there. Right, so we've got a floppy drive, we've got a hard drive, and those are nice and secure. We'll leave doing the front till last because it's a bit awkward, the front. We can get that floppy drive connector back up, and that will plug in. And now I've just realised a problem we've got. I remember having this problem before putting other drives in. On the Amstrad, the edge connector there, on the drives that most of the Amstrad supplied, the edge connector there is actually a bit further along. Because this is a different drive, the edge connector is actually right in, and I can't get that connector on there. That's a pain. Just bear with me a second, folks, because I'll probably have to just take the drive back out while I just get that cable back on there. Right, okay folks, I'm not proud of it, but I've actually done exactly what I used to do back in the 90s when I come across this problem. Just took a pair of pliers and just bent the metalwork around the outside there out slightly, and now you can see it fits on perfectly. Right, so that's done there. That's the disk drive connected up. We can put we can't put the card in for the hard drive yet until we actually get the top on, because there'll be nothing to hold that side of the card. So what we will do is put this to this one side for a second, and we will turn our attention just quickly to the top, because there's one thing I need to do on the top, and that is clean some of the corrosion we've actually got. I'll just get you in so you can actually see this. And I think this is probably what actually killed the original motherboard. Ooh, there we go. As you can see in there, we've got some lovely green corrosion where probably many years ago, when these were absolute junk, someone left a set of batteries in there, and the batteries leaked and corroded. And unfortunately, as well as just doing that bit of damage to the contacts there, it also managed to do a lot of damage to the main board as well. But we will see if we can clean this off, because we do need to connect some batteries up to this. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing if I've got my hand over there where I've got the camera. I've just got a little fiberglass pen here, and I'm just cleaning the worst of the corrosion off with that. We could probably go in there with a little bit of vinegar, to be honest, and neutralise any remaining acid, but I think it's probably actually alright. This it's cleaning off really well. It's not even damaged the chrome very much. I think we'll get a good contact there. I think that will we'll get away with that. That's a pleasant surprise. Yeah, I think we'll get a good contact with that. And again, those aren't bad. I've got a little bit of like muck in there. In fact, I wonder, I've still got my pink stuff here. If I just try cleaning a little bit of that out of there with some of this. We'll too much. Get a little bit of the pink stuff there, just on the end. Just go in and give it a. There we are. That's just brought all them little bits of corrosion and rust that were on the bottom of it out. So it's really good stuff, that, and it's dirt cheap, like £1 to £1.50 for a tin like that. So it's really good stuff. Right, so I'm happy with that. So we can now reunite the top with the case. We can reunite the front, and then we can look at putting that hard disk controller card in there. Right, there's a little bit of corrosion on those there. In fact, let's just see if we can do something about that. I've just noticed, get you up. Where are we now? There we are. If you look here, we've got a little bit of corrosion. Again, all we need to do is I think get the fiberglass pen on it, and it should clean off. That is depending on what I've just done with the fiberglass pen. So I've just used it, and now I don't know what I've done with it. Just bear with us a sec, folks. Okay, there we go, folks. I've just given them a quick brush down with the fiberglass pen, and that's basically got most of that off. So that's right to go on. Let me get you zoomed down so you can see what's happening. Oops, there we go. That's better, isn't it? There we are. So we've got that cleaned up. Now we can start connecting things back up again. We will slot the speaker. A few little bits down there. We'll slot the speaker back in space. That's sat home. Now I believe the white, fortunately these are colour coded, so the speaker has got a white plug, and that connects onto the white plug. Down on the motherboard here at the front, right near the volume control, so it's fairly easy to know which one goes where. Although it's a bit of a faff to get it, there we are. I think that's in. Yeah, I think we got that one in that time. And then the power LED, which has got a black end on it. Again, there's a black connector down there. That plugs in like so. So that's the front connector back up. Just rest that in place for now. And then we've got the top, and this has a blue connector on it, and again on the main board right in the centre there is a blue connector, and that connects into that like that, and then we can basically drop the top back on and get it to line up with all its. That's what that one's in. That one's in. There we go. There's one not quite lining up there. Has that gone in? That's gone in. Lovely. So that's all fitted back in. In fact, what we need to do before we go any further is get my my card that I made. And what have I done with it? Where have I put you? There you are. now need to fit this. So that will pass through there like that. That will plug in. There we are. Then before I put the lid down, I need to connect these up or else I won't be able to get to the actual back of the disk drive. So that one plugs into the disk drive. It's just long enough, that's, yeah, I think that should just work. In fact, I think I'm going to put the card in that slot if I can. It shouldn't matter which slot I put that in. That just gives us a little bit more room on them. Plug that one in. Feed those wires down there, and then I think we can finally actually get the lid to go on. And this is the bit that's a bit of a pain, because as soon as you put one bit on, as soon as you get the back lined up, the front will drop off, and as soon as you take that off to get the front back on, you won't be able to get the bottom back line back up again. I've had this fun many times with these Amstrads back in the 90s, putting them back together. And then all of a sudden it'll just randomly clip together and work. They were a very, very cheap case design, but I suppose it sort of worked. There we go, that one's in, that one's in. I've caught a wire at the front, so I'll have to take it all back off again. So I've caught the wire to the right, let's try this again. I have to be really careful as well, because some of the plastic tabs at the front are already cracked. So I've got to be super careful with it really. This plastic is like 30 years old now, and it wouldn't have been, like I said, premium plastic with it being Amstrad back in the day. They've used something fairly cheap, they always did. There we go, it's gone in. Lovely, everything's clipped back in where it should do. Hopefully I can get the back to clip into place. I'll hold that, just, you know, it's not quite in there. That's it. So they are a bit of a faff, these Amstrads, case wise. Now there should be some little covers that go over them. Unfortunately they were missing when I got the computer. Right, there we go. That's everything in. Took those last few wires back there, make it look really neat inside. Even though we're going to be going back in this thing sooner rather than later. Still see if we can get it as neat as I can for now. Get that last bit to clip in at the back there. We've got two more of these ridiculously long screws. One in there. And one in there. Now unfortunately what we don't have are the three ridiculously long screws that actually hold the ISA cards in. Those are missing. I will have to see if I can find something that will be suitable. And I've just realised I can't put that slot cover back. I'll put that out of harm's way for now. What I'll have to do is feed that lot through it before I actually put it back in. I'll put that in my safe, the drawer for safekeeping for when we next fiddle about with this thing. And again, I've dropped the proverbial. I should have connected these cables before I screwed the case together, because I now can't get to the back of the hard drive plug these cables in. I'm not going to let you suffer through my idiocy. I'll just sort that out and then we'll be right back in a sec. Okay, finally, that must have took me a best part of 20 minutes of faffing after I shut the bloody camera off. I finally got it back together. I easily, I got that connected up no problem, and then I just could not get the case to line back up together. Anyway, it's back together now. It's just a shame it'll have to come apart again sooner rather than later, but never mind. We can put the top cover on like that. And what this is really nice, I hadn't realised this would work, but it looks like it will. That's my power connector, and I thought I would have to leave the side cover there off, but it looks like there's actually a little notch at the bottom designed to allow a cable out with that still plugged on. So if we bring it out that notch at the bottom there, I believe, look, check that out. So basically there we go. That's the computer all put back together. Like I said, I know it's not going to stay back together for all that long because we are going to be doing other things with this system. But now it's all back together, I'll get it connected up to the monitor again, and we can actually have have another test of it and just make sure it's all working. Now it's back in the back in the actual case and everything. It's actually looking like a computer again. So I'll get it set up on the desk and everything, and then we'll get right back. Right, as you can see, I've got it all basically set up. We are using a slightly inappropriate monitor, obviously, but apart from that, it's fairly accurate to what I had in the 1990s. Let's switch on. In fact, let's take. I'm not actually seeing whether that hard drive's. We know it kind of boots. Let's give it a try. See if it's going to actually boot. Let's see if we can get anything up on screen. Yep. So we're where we were. Please wait. I'm hoping we should get a startup beep this time. Now we've got a speaker connected as well. Oh, there we go. Obviously we've still. Hey, check this out as well. Amstrad PC1512 version 1. Now if you remember on the previous video that was coming up Amstrad PC1512 version 1, so it's definitely recognised the extra RAM that we fitted, and it has booted into DOS. I don't think anything's going to actually run, but let's try it. I said because this hard drive is unwell, it's not happy. Although it does appear to be boosting into gem, or at least I've never got it to go this far. It's always just come up with a C error reading drive C. So perhaps putting that little bit of clock oil in the stepper of the hard drive has done some good. It's obviously it's not working. Look here, data on the disk in drive C may be damaged. You must use the right kind of floppy disk. I don't know why it's not. You must connect your hard disk properly. Well, I think we say it's connected properly. Let's. I've not got a mouse or anything connected either, so that does make using gem a little bit tricky. Though you can use the cursor keys. Yeah, obviously it's crashed there. Let's just give it another quick Control Alt Delete. I think that's very, very crashed. Control Alt Delete's not. Let's try giving it a switch off. Switch it back on and see if it'll boot back up again. See, the hard drive sounds really good. It's not screaming like that other one. Although I think it has just stopped spinning. Yeah, I believe the hard drive is very unwell. So the lights come on it there, but I can't actually hear the hard drive spinning anymore, and it seems to have frozen the computer. Let's get it to boot from DOS, from a DOS boot disk. Yeah, it's obviously got a hard drive not ready error. Non-system disk. That definitely is a system disk. Let's see if it's going to come up booting MS-DOS. So obviously, we do have still issues with this computer, but at least we've got it back together. Let's try switching it. Control-Alt-Delete. Switch it off, and we'll try it back up, switching back on. See, I've heard the hard drive fire back up that time. There's definitely something. I don't think I'm going to be able to do anything with that hard drive. There we go, it's spun back down again. So that hard drive is definitely not well. Let's see if it'll boot from the floppy disk. No, it's trying the hard drive again, even though, like I said, we've got hard drive issues. I just like to see if it will actually boot from the floppy one more time, just to make sure that that should boot. I think that's going to be for another video to look at that. Because obviously we've still got a few issues with the. I think it's to do with that hard drive. The fact that the hard drive spun down and it's confusing the rest of the computer. Actually, let's give it one last try. So you can hard drive spins up, starts to seek. And then shuts back off. So I don't think there's going to be anything we can really do with that hard drive, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure that's what the issue is now. So we are going to need to find an alternative solution to that. That does seem to be appearing to stop the rest of it booting now. But you did see it fire up on the hard drive, and it even nearly actually did work. I'm just not sure why it's not trying to boot from the floppy drive now. Now it's actually come up with its system disk error there. You'd expect it to try and want to boot from the A drive, and it's not doing. But I said we can look at this in the next time we actually look at this computer. I really just need to get it all built back up. This is just problems with the drives. We can go back into that and actually look at that in the future. Like I said, I've got something else I need to get on the workbench, and I didn't want this just lying about for a while just in pieces. I wanted it actually back as a computer, and I can start fiddling and messing about with it now. Now it's all back together like this, especially now we've got the power supply and everything. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed this, watching me put this thing back together. Like I said, in the next video we're probably going to be doing something a little bit different. So I've got something in the room that I rescued out of a skip a couple of weeks ago, which I'd like to get on the bench and have a look at. So we might do that in the next video. Anyway, so we'll leave it there for now. I hope you enjoyed this little update on the project. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.